Appreciate it. And thank you to everybody who's talked to Brian and said all of those nice things about me. Means a lot, you guys. Um, so yeah, let's just get into it. So this message, it really came from me over the last few years, just being really intentional about not sucking at selling the pots and pans. Because for a long time, I was not very good at it. And a lot of what I implemented came from people on this call. So a lot of what I share today may sound familiar, but I think just like Brian kind of framed at the beginning is it may sound familiar, but the value is going to be in how I'm sharing the phrases with customers and when I'm using them, right? As I implemented, I really started to focus on what do people connect with most when it comes to buying pots and pans. And as I was doing this, I was looking at what statements did I make or what videos did I show that led to customers having that aha moment, that led to them building confidence in stainless steel pots and pans. How did I make those statements? What was my tone? What was my language that I used? How did I frame the video that they were about to watch? I also started to pay a lot of attention to what were the things that just didn't seem to make as much of an impact with my customers. What were the things that they were maybe important sometimes, but they weren't important every time. So by really paying attention to that, I just gained insight to what I could do to my current pitch to make it faster, to make it simpler, to make it more streamlined, but also getting across all of the information they need to know. And it really led to me just developing a few beliefs that I have when it comes to pitching the cookware. So what I'm going to share today, I'm going to start off by sharing those beliefs really quickly. And then I just want to cover my process of my pitch. I'm not going to do my full pitch, but I'll mostly walk through it and I'll explain how the beliefs that I have informed that pitch and where they're present when I'm talking to customers. So I have three main beliefs that when it comes to the selling the Cutco cookware, that I just really use these beliefs to empower what I teach my customers. First belief is that we need to build confidence first and excitement later. So we need to make our customers confident first, and then we can build excitement and enthusiasm later in the demo. My second belief is that we need to be teachers and not principals. And I'll explain what that means more in a second. And third belief is that people just care way more about how they clean their pans than how they cook with them. So first belief, going back to what we need to do, we need to build confidence first and excitement later. You guys, what I want them to feel is I want them to have the confidence that they don't need to become some new kind of person to use our pans. They don't need to change their habits. They don't need to develop a new skill set. They don't need to become this super health conscious person. They don't need to do anything different unless they want to. If they really want to take advantage of the pans, there's some things they can do, but 99% of what they already do works for our pans. They've been sold their entire life that stainless steel is the boogeyman. Don't use stainless steel. It's a pain in the butt to take care of. Everything's going to stick, right? So I want to pop that fear bubble right away as soon as possible. I'm going to talk about in a minute how I do that, right? So I'm all about building confidence in the beginning. So what that also means is I don't say waterless or oilless until I'm halfway through my pitch. I don't want those buzzwords that they can create interest. They can also derail the confidence that I'm trying to build. So that's me building confidence first and excitement later. I'll explain through the process how I do that. When it comes to being teachers and not principals, this is just about the language and the tone that you're using with your customers. So I don't want to create rules for people. I want to give advice. So what does that mean? I'm never using the phrasing of you have to do it this way. You can't do that. If you do it this way, you're wrong, right? Like I want to use language that is inviting. So I like to say things in terms of you can do whatever you want, but for the best results, we suggest this. We've found the easiest way to get that done is to do this. The fastest and simplest way to do it is like this. So that's not me telling them that they have to do it, but if they want it to be fast, if they want it to be simple, if they want it to be easy, they should probably do it that way. And again, you guys, when it comes to, my third belief, people care way more about how they clean their pans and how they cook with them. Um, just think about every cookware commercial you've ever seen on TV. They're being sold two things: that things won't stick and that pan is easy to clean. Right? Every infomercial, that's all it is about. Maybe they talk a little bit how they cook and how they get a sear, yada yada, but they always show the condensed milk in the pan sliding right out. They always show how easy it is to clean that pan, right? So instead of us pitching about how amazing our pans cook, we can still do that, but I just want to match and mirror what they're used to already seeing. So when it comes to my process, I use these three beliefs to inform how I go about things, right? So I'm going to start off the same way all of you guys do, right? I'm going to do a power intro. And my power intro is, carbon copy from, I forget who kind of introduced you to this group. I think it was either Seth or Bert, right? I just add a couple things in there that I've noticed people seem to connect with. So I'm going to do it real quick. The pans are our original product, and in my opinion, they're the best thing that we sell. Our knives are amazing, but there is a maintenance factor. They do need sharpened. The only maintenance with our pans is cleaning them, which is super easy because they're basically a nonstick stainless, giving you all the benefits of the nonstick without those toxic chemicals. Cast iron gives you an awesome sear, and so do our pans. They work the same way. They just don't feel like they're going to break your wrist. And we don't have thousands of rules to using our pans like cast iron does. If you've heard of an Instapot or a pressure cooker, our pans with the lids basically work just like an Instapot on your stovetop as well. Can I take a minute to show you why they're better than the knives? Just get their permission to dive in. Now, the next step in my process, which again, a lot of you guys are probably already doing this, is I want to teach them about the preheating concept. But again, I want to be a teacher, not a principal. So instead of what I used to do, I made preheating this super important thing. I made it like the end all be all. It was like if they didn't do it, they were ruined, right? Now I'm just super casual about it. So just like you preheat your oven and like you always preheat your grill, the only thing you might have to do different than what you're doing, but a lot of people already do this, is preheat your pan. So I teach them about the preheating, but I like adding in the line. A lot of people are already doing this with my head nod. So that way they understand that this is not a Cutco pan thing. This is just a cookware thing, right? Like you should probably, no matter what kind of cookware you have, like it's probably going to work better if you preheat it, right? So again, I don't want to create this high barrier to entry where, oh my God, I have to do this weird preheating thing if I want to have Cutco pans. It's no, you should probably just be doing this with everything that you're already using. But when you use it with our pans, let me show you what happens. So I've explained preheating. Um, and now this is how I'm going to transition into cleaning because again, this is what they're used to seeing from cookware commercials. So I'm going to get them excited. I'm going to show them videos of eggs sliding right out multiple different ways, whether it's over easy eggs, scrambled eggs, an omelet, right? All things that a lot of us are probably doing. But we have to realize, what are they thinking? Every cookware commercial they've seen has shown them that. So they're thinking, I've seen this before and I've been burned by this. I've seen this where I bought the thing that I thought this was going to happen and then it didn't happen and now I'm pissed. I don't want that to happen again. So I go over this thing where I kind of call it being in the wheelhouse when it comes to preheating. So I've just shown them those videos of all the eggs sliding out. But what I like to do is I have a picture of a pan, my pan in my kitchen with a bunch of scrambled eggs stuck to it because I left the heat too low. And I point it out to them and I say, hey, this would normally be a pain in the butt to clean, right? And they're like, yeah, that sucks. That's why I don't want stainless. And this is my opportunity for a paradigm shift with my customers where I get to say, this is why I love the pans. This is why these are my favorite thing that we sell. Because I was close to heating it, and because I was in the wheelhouse, Mrs. Jones, because I was close to having the heat correct. We're human. We're never gonna like have it perfect every single time. But as long as you're in the wheelhouse, even if you mess up a little bit, watch this. I then show them a video of me filming with one hand and cleaning with the other hand, and the pan's kind of going all over my sink. It's kind of silly. It just like clangs around and stuff, and it gets them to smile and laugh. But I also point out, like, notice how it's still getting clean really easily. I rinse out the pan. I show them, look at that. That pan's perfectly clean with 60 seconds of me cleaning with only one hand. Imagine if I had two. How much faster would that be, right, Mrs. Jones? So again, I'm showing them like that even when the worst case scenario happens, your eggs stick, it is a 20-second problem, not a 2-minute problem, 5-minute problem, soaking your pans for 2 days problem, right? It's a 20-second problem. And then I get to show them more cleaning videos. So I show them, Brian, thank you for sharing that bacon video. I show that all the time, right? I have a video of me cleaning a pan after searing chicken. But not only is this the opportunity to show them how easy they clean, this is also my opportunity to sell them our steel versus what they're going to find in stores. Because our competition right now is not just waterless cookware. Stainless steel is more popular than it's ever been. We're very fortunate in that regard, but that also means we have to leverage what makes us different than the all clad, the best stuff in stores, right? So often people buy good and it prevents them from getting great. So we have to stop them from getting that good stuff in stores. So I'm going to talk about the difference in surgical grade stainless steel versus 1810 or 18.8, right? How our steel is non-porous, it's going to last longer, it's not going to wear. That all clay that you're going to buy, it's going to be good stuff, but it's eventually going to wear down because of the way that it's designed, and it's going to get stickier and stickier and stickier, and it's going to become harder to clean, harder to clean, harder to clean the longer you have it, and you're just going to come back to square one and having to buy new pans eventually. Now that I've shown them what happens in the worst case scenarios, and I've built confidence that they can use steel without becoming a chef, now I get to try to wow them. Now I really get to focus on building excitement. And this is where I'm now going to introduce waterless and oilless cooking, right? I'm going to explain the seal, which you guys all know how to do. I'm going to talk about, you know, bottom up, sides in, top down cooking, right? And I like to say it like this. This is where the magic happens and why you pay more for this. These pans are so good at what they do. I'm not saying you would ever do some of the things I'm about to show you. It just shows you how well these work and why you'll love them so much. So one of the first things I show them is how I pull out the cookware manual and how they can bake a cake on the stovetop. I'm not telling them they should bake their cakes that way or that they ever will. I just want them to understand the quality, right? I talk about how that means in general it's always going to cook faster and it's going to keep their food more moist than putting it in the oven. So, Bert, thank you for last year. You shared like your cookware file with us at Dangerfield. I use a lot of the videos from that. So there's a video of like big thick burgers being cooked in a skillet, right? Nice sear on them. But if you just put them in a pan, they'd take forever, right? Because you have to flip them so often. When you put them in the skillet, watch this, Mrs. Jones. See that lid? See how there's like no steam escaping? Watch this. Open the lid, all that steam comes out. What does that mean? That means the burger cooked faster because of it, and it didn't dry out, so it tastes better. And because now I showed that steaming aspect, that gives me an easy transition into waterless cooking, right, with vegetables. Now, again, I want to be a teacher, not a principal. So I teach them very quickly, the vegetables and coffee concept. If anybody's unsure of that, I can go over, what that is at the end. But I just show them that, like, hey, you can do whatever you want, but if you try this, you'll notice that your vegetables taste sweeter, they're fresher, and they just require less butter, salt, and pepper. Now, Mrs. Jones, I'm not saying no butter, salt, and pepper. I'm just saying less butter, salt, and pepper. All right. And then what I like to do to really drive home the construction is just I show Jason's video, the three-course meal in one pan. Um, as I'm showing it, again, the whole goal is not to convince customers to cook like this, right? I tell them right away, I use butter and oil every time I cook. I'm just showing you this to show you that there's nothing else that can do this. There's nothing else as good as this anywhere else, right? So I skip through 95% of the video. I show them chicken going down with no oil just to see that it's possible. I show them it being flipped. I show the carrot shreds in water, not to like really sell that aspect too hard. Just like, yeah, just imagine like 10 minutes in boiling water, right? Probably not going to taste as good. Excuse me. I skip to the pan being opened where there's carrots where he puts the fork into the carrot, no problem. And I just do that to point out, like, hey, they're not mushy, but that wouldn't be possible if it wasn't completely cooked. Right. And then I like to show all of the liquid at the bottom of the pan. And that right there, you guys, that is my process. I do a 3 set close, and then I position the legacy set as the one that everyone wants. Of course, that's one I'm always going to pitch, and then it's dropping down from there. But along with that, I do the price comparison. A lot of you guys are probably familiar with the Salad Master price comparison. I also, on top of that, I've been doing an all clad price comparison because, again, we have to help people with the great, not just the good, right? So I compare, hey, look at this all clad price. Notice how it's like 3,800 bucks for a 24-piece set. That's good stuff. Like you'd have that 10, 15, 20 years. But check this out. I show them our family set, which cost $100 more. So you can pay $100 more to get the same set. That's just better quality materials that's going to last longer and have a better guarantee. It's just kind of like a no-brainer if you're going to get stainless steel to get our cookware. So I'm kind of hit killing two birds with one stone. Like, don't buy the other brands because they cost more and don't have as good of a guarantee. Don't spend a little bit less because you're really getting a lot less for spending a little less, right? So just to wrap up with this, you guys, it really centers around my three beliefs that my objective is to build confidence, that if they want long-term, easy to use, it's us. I want to flip the paradigm of stainless being a pain to where now they believe it's actually the lowest maintenance cookware there is. Because again, there's not 1,000 rules to using it. You don't have to season it. You can clean it however the hell you want to. But if you do it the way I suggest to clean it, it's going to be faster and easier and simpler for you. And that's where, again, my language is about being a teacher, not a principal. I want to make sure the language is suggestive and about encouragement, that it's simple, that they don't have to change a thing about their habits in the kitchen besides preheating. And then lastly, you guys, I think we just all need to make sure we teach them how to clean before we teach them how to cook. Let their grandmothers teach them how to cook, right? People get very emotional when you tell them how to cook things in their kitchen. They're not going to get emotional about how to clean it. All right. Um, they're going to be more receptive if it's going to save them time. But the cooking aspect, if they want to learn, great. But I've just found when you try to go really hard into like, you should cook it this way, cook it that way, do it like this, people can really step back from that, especially if they're a cast iron person. But that is what I have for you guys. Just focus on teaching them and letting them have a lot of fun.
It's just good God. All right. And guys, he did that with literally like 25% of his time to spare. How we feeling, chat? How we feeling, chat? Jess, could I impose on you? I've been trying to take some of these calls that have so much good, dense, quality verbiage in there. Would you mind sharing either some of your notes or some of those lines? I will try to transcribe some things, but I bet it'll be quicker and easier. If you don't mind sharing them with me, I would love to sort of bang that out into a handout, work it into the video, of course, with your name on it exclusively, because that was fantastic. So if you don't mind terribly sharing some of that with me, I would appreciate it tremendously, and I think the whole team would too. Smooth and silky. What a great way to put that. What a great way to put that. Be a teacher, not a principal. Man, that's amazing. Jess, just out of curiosity, do you find that you have kind of an even distribution of when it comes to cookware? Are you selling it mostly to your past customers? Is this something you're having a good amount of success with new customers at the booth as well? Obviously, cookware, you have to have the right type of client. People see a knife booth, they walk up to a knife booth, they're generally there to talk about knives. But is this something that you're having pretty good success with both new clients and seeing your own past customers and Cutco owners?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I do think I'm doing pretty well with both. Normally, again, it is always a little bit more difficult with the person who hasn't heard of Cutco, right?
Sure.
Like the person who comes up just about the pans.
Hmm.
I'm doing better with those people, but people who either my past customers or if they just already have some Cutco, they've been very receptive to it. Of course, my past customers a little bit more because they already trust me, right? But that's where planting the seeds has definitely helped as well too.
I love that. And then out of curiosity, is there anything else that you do with your communication strategy post sale? I mean, I think we all know that, helping educate, communicating with customers during the script, or at least setting the right expectations, whether it's on the spot or through good follow-up messaging, can really help limit returns and frustration. Is there anything you feel you're doing after the fact, post sale, just to retain those orders or help your customers kind of maximize that investment?
Yeah, so I send a text right afterwards that I think I copied honestly from Bert. He posted in a chat, or maybe it was Seth. So I send that text, and then when I close, the first thing I do is, the whole like, hey, just so you know, first couple weeks, right? And the analogy I like to use is, it's kind of like the first time you get into a car you've never driven and the brakes feel off. You don't blame the brakes, right?
Mm.
And I get kind of that head nod. They're like, yeah, you're right. I don't blame. It's like, so it's going to be the same thing with the pans. So when inevitably you burn something or something sticks, that just means an adjustment, just like you adjust to your brakes. And I've noticed that has like helped people a lot with like just understanding that there is going to be a learning curve. I tell them they have to do I call the text homework. So I say, you have to do your 15 minutes of homework. All right. Of course, reach out to me with any questions, but my first question for you will be, did you do your homework? And I really don't get many people reaching out with issues, very rarely, because I think like I've ran into some customers I sold to last year. I ran into them this year. They're like, yeah, it still sticks sometimes, but I think I did a good job of like being like, yeah, that's going to happen. You're human, to where it didn't become a big deal for them. Where in years past, if I told them like it's a non-stick stainless, things won't really ever stick, and then it sticks
Right.
every once in a while. Now they're pissed about it. To where because of the way I'm explaining it, they're like, oh yeah, he kind of told me that this could happen, and it's just not that big a deal.
Nice. Nice. There's so much one of the a big just theme I have in management is experiences matching expectations that, a lot of people where frustration happens or you lose trust or confidence with other people, it's when experiences don't align with their expectations. And I think you're doing so much work there to create correct expectations so their experiences are not throwing them off. It seems normal and worst case scenario, they can reach out and get help.